Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally a guy that not only forgets his own name, but disrupts an entire sports book while he screams and yells for a Diamondbacks 10-run inning comeback, only for the Diamondbacks to lose this game by a score of 13-11. I am joined once again in Studio K by my friend, my guy, the one and only Damon Dog in his Geraldo Perdomo jersey. He was ready to scream a lot on this episode, and now we're both just very, very sad, and understandably so. The Diamondbacks mounted an incredible, heroic comeback tonight, but they end up losing the games 13-11. They are now 12-8, despite the fact that the Diamondbacks have scored now 18 runs in their last two eighth innings against the Chicago Cubs. Damon, let's start with your thoughts on this loss. This one, what a roller coaster of emotions this game was.
Yeah, it really was. I actually just sent off my show tweet that said roller coaster of emotions. So that's funny. We're on the same wavelength here, and I'm sure every Diamondbacks fan at home is feeling the same way because I was pumped when Geno hit that grand slam. Obviously, the ensuing kind of, flurry of runs after that, like the Diamondbacks weren't done yet. And I was on top of the world, Derek. And then it came crashing and burning to the ground at the hands of Bryce Jarvis and Joe Mantiply. And now it's sad boy hours on the PHNX Dbacks show because Derek and I were ready to get kind of crazy. And now it's just like what a demoralizing way to lose just because of the emotional high and then ending where you end up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Of course, this show is presented by Bet365 and our friends at Game Time. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up for some bonus bets. And then you'll sign up over at Game Time. You get $20 off your first purchase with code PHNX. Damon, that's exactly what happened here. This game was a game where the Diamondbacks offense didn't get going against the Cubs. It felt once the game had reached a score of 7-1 after a grand slam home run for the Cubs on their part, this one felt like it was already out of reach. And that was, again, another grand slam or runs given up by the bullpen in this game. The Diamondbacks bullpen has been amazing this year outside of Joe Mantiply. And today they did not have it. Ryne Nelson didn't have it. Bryce Jarvis didn't have it. And most importantly, Joe Mantiply definitely didn't have it. Torey Lovullo was limited on arms that he could use out of the pen. You and I were talking about it a bit. Obviously, there's a lot of people very mad at Torey Lovullo. And this one is a bit hard to defend other than when you have a bullpen, you only have a limited number of arms, and you can only use those arms on certain days. Maybe Torey should have pushed it. Maybe he should have gone out there and maybe used some of these guys that have been overused in the last series. But I think that's the reason why we ended up seeing him go with Bryce Jarvis and Joe Mantiply. And obviously, even Ryne Nelson was not very good today out of the pen. It really didn't seem like who they went to, they didn't perform well on the mound for this team.
Yeah, this is a tough one, especially because of I think the narrative that exists within this fan base among many that, Torey is not great in situations like this. Specifically with his lineup decisions and with his bullpen usage. And, I think it bears noting that it's not entirely Torey Lovullo's call. Like, he's not the sole decision maker on this kind of stuff. And I don't think that it's Torey that's being like, I need Joe Mantiply on this roster, right? That's a Mike decision and that's a Hazen call, as well as the other guys in the front office. But I also I don't necessarily know what Torey is supposed to do with the arms he had available to him. And we're working on a graphic here, and we're going to pull it up from our friend Michael McDermott, who had a good tweet about it earlier, and it was actually prior to the Mantiply meltdown here, Derek, where Michael McDermott, he just listed out all of the, options that Torey had within the bullpen. And you had 6 outs to go. and you had Bryce Jarvis on the mound, Joe Mantiply, and Shelby Miller to use. So I guess, in hindsight, you could say maybe keep, Bryce Jarvis in the game, I guess. I mean, he was about to get shelled to me. Or Shelby Miller
early.
Yeah, give Shelby Miller 6 outs. I guess that's really the only thing that, I guess Torey really could have done looking back on it, and maybe he should have. But I feel like you need to know what you have in Mantiply, and right now I think we know he's the worst arm in this bullpen. And when people get back, that's the first name that needs to be changed.
The Diamondbacks just swept the Marlins, and yeah, one of those games wasn't very close, but the other games, relief pitchers were needed. There's ways that you could maybe suggest that they structure, the bullpen differently. And yeah, no, I mean, here's what I'll say that definitely Torey deserves criticism for. When you structure it in a way where your only available arms to come out of the bullpen were going to be Mantiply, Bryce Jarvis, Ryne Nelson, like you were relying entirely too much on Ryne Nelson being able to go out and give you long relief in that outing. That's what happened. And unfortunately in this game, Ryne Nelson did not have command over his fastball. He really struggled. He comes into the game, he gives up singles to Nico Horner and PCA. Then he gives up, then he walks Carson Kelly, struck out Vidal Brujan, and then gives up a grand slam to Ian Happ. And then at that point, the game seemed like it was completely, out of the Diamondbacks' ability to come back. It was 7-1 at that point. Yet they did, right? And that's the impressive thing, that they deserve credit for the comeback that they mustered up. It sucks that we sit here talking about a loss. It sucks that the fact that Torey didn't have better arms to go to when that game turned around. And I'll also say this, like, you can criticize Torey all you want in regards to managing the game. And I might agree with you a little bit more than Damon does, because I do feel like this one was mismanaged. I felt like there were things that he could have done to potentially turn to, I mean, it felt lost, right? It felt like it was going in that direction. It felt that way when Bryce Jarvis was in there. It felt that way once he brought Joe Mantiply in, right? So once the game got to that point, I don't know. I mean, maybe you just go to Shelby Miller and see if Shelby Miller can give you those 2 innings. We know at one point in his past, he was capable of giving you more than an inning, and he's been incredible so far for this team this year. So there's that. But I will also say, like, where do we start blaming the players themselves for their performances, right? Like, I'm not trying to personally attack Bryce Jarvis or Joe Mantiply. I'm also saying that Torey was limited on the options that he could go to. It was a stupid decision to end up, in a close game with your worst reliever in there. Literally, Joe Mantiply this season has been the Diamondbacks' worst reliever. But when do we start blaming the players for that, right? For their performance, for the fact that they're not getting the job done. You can easily blame the manager for going to a guy that's struggling, obviously, and that's an easy criticism. But again, I'll reiterate what we said on yesterday's show, or maybe it was Wednesday's show. Joe Mantiply at one point was the Diamondbacks' lone all-star, right? And obviously, he's not performing at all right now. And a lot of people want to see him. They don't even want to see him sent down to Reno. They would just want to see him off this team. And I don't know what the Diamondbacks are going to do in regards to that. But I do feel that blame needs to be placed on the player themselves, the athlete themselves at time, especially when you're talking about a pitcher, when other pitchers in the bullpen are getting the job done and have been able to so far all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. People in the chat are understandably not happy. I mean, I think Derek and I expect this every time that there's a thing that maybe we disagree with regarding blaming Torey and how much blame he deserves. But and I saw a couple stranglehold on the podcast. I get it. But I just genuinely don't know what the solution would have been other than for Torey to have
hold on, Damon,
time traveling device.
I got to say this because people in the chat are like, oh, yeah, he was only an all-star because you have to have somebody like, a representative. Yes, that's true. But Joe Mantiply was the best player on the team. What does that say when our sole representative was a relief pitcher, Mantiply, who ended up not really having that good of a year, to be fair, after that all-star appearance, right? So, like, yeah, no, I am going to use that reference because at one point, Joe Mantiply was good enough for this team that he earned an all-star nod. Yes, you're right about that. Yes, he does. Every team has to have somebody. But basically, that was the best player on the team. Now, yes, that wasn't recent, but at this point, I mean, again, the Diamondbacks, baseball organizations, franchises, they're not so quick to give up on guys. And sending him down to Reno, what is that going to do for him, Damon? I mean, he's going to go down there and his ERA is just going to go up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a great option for him to get things back on track. Yet I'm sure the Diamondbacks as an organization still feels like there is value in Joe Mantiply as a reliever and want to do everything they can to not overreact to the fact that he has had a terrible, terrible month so far.
Well, that's where you lose me because I think it's over. And that's okay. He had a good run for the Diamondbacks. Joe Mantiply has been a part of this organization for a very long time. He was an all-star. And you know, he's had a lot of good seasons, but to be honest with you, it just doesn't feel like he has it anymore. And there's a time and place in everybody's career. He's 34 years old. Like, this isn't something that's, you know, out of left field. And when guys get back, when Kevin Ginkel is back, and even when Kendall Graveman is back, just because I think you view the upside as maybe a little bit higher, I think you have to go through with those moves, and he's the odd man out at this point. And that's
totally true.
That's not where you were at the beginning of the season, but you know, I think that's what's been earned throughout the course of this year, through how well Jalen Beeks has pitched, for example. And so, you know, that's, I think we're just playing a waiting game at this point of how much longer Joe Mantiply is on this team, waiting for these other guys to come back to this pen.
One thing you could also criticize is the fact that the front office didn't make a move prior to this to bring up another guy from Reno that maybe could have offered them another arm. This isn't like this is the first outing Joe Mantiply has been bad in. We've been talking about it for weeks, and it's one of those things that the Diamondbacks, yes, they are waiting for Ginkel, and Ginkel does feel like he's right around the corner. It's going to happen any day now. However, you know, the Diamondbacks still have regular season games to play in the meantime. So I guess my overall point here is this feels like a lot of people are to blame. Torey Lovullo is definitely to blame. Front office is to blame for not maybe making a move here to give Torey a better option here as far as his bullpen arms are concerned. And the relievers themselves, Ryne Nelson and Joe Mantiply, and Bryce Jarvis, frankly, all of them didn't do their job today, and all of them caused the Diamondbacks to lose this game. The offense didn't. Even though the offense had a slow start today, the offense got things going. Eventually, especially in that felt fairly historic eighth inning where the Diamondbacks scored 10 runs in a game. That Diamondbacks 10-run inning marks the fifth occurrence in franchise history, and the second time all-time on the road where they've scored 10 runs or more. But last time that happened was a year ago, over a year ago, on March 20th, 2024, versus the Rockies. So, and then the last time that it happened on the road was also against the Rockies. That was back in 2017. It's been a long time since the Diamondbacks have scored 10 runs in one inning, and they did it today in an impressive, heroic comeback effort that was frankly spoiled by the bullpen. It was spoiled prior to the comeback, and it was spoiled after the Diamondbacks had the lead. Let's take a look here at some of our Super Chats. Mark R. in the Super Chat, thank you so much for your Super Chat. He says, Miller had a day off. Beeks pitched twice, but Wednesday was only 3 pitches. Gink and Graveman coming back, can afford to burn arms. Is every game doesn't count? I don't know. I guess every game doesn't count. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, right? Like, again, there is times like this where I'm sure guys in the bullpen were willing to give them more. I'm sure guys are willing to go out there and pitch. But like Damon showed, like, teams can't completely burn their bullpen. They can't completely, like, put the rest of a series at risk during, you know, on the 20th game of the season for a game like this, right? Like just for one single game. So there's a lot of other things that go into it. But I am very understanding of how frustrated fans are. I think we all saw Bryce Jarvis come into this game. I think we all saw Joe Mantiply come into this game and say, "Oh man, it's over. Oh man, this is gonna suck." And then it went that way. It did the exact thing we feared would happen. So, I definitely echo your frustrations, and I understand it. I just think that there comes a time where, again, if the guys aren't performing, you got to do something about it one way or another. And Joe Mantiply this season obviously has not been able to perform for this team well on the mound. Benjamin Hunley, thank you for your super chat. He said the offense didn't quit, but Lovullo did. I don't know, man. I'm still kind of with Damon on that. There was still another inning to pitch, despite the fact that Shelby Miller felt like the obvious guy to get out there. I felt like, based on the lack of options that Torey had, that Shelby Miller was going to be the arm he turned to in the ninth inning, right? And so it was just a matter of trying to manage the whole game. And sometimes things definitely don't go your way, especially when you're limited on the arms that you can turn to. Maze Devil says, your manager not being willing to stretch a high leverage arm after your team scores 10 runs must be so disheartening for the players. That's a great point.
I'm with that. I agree. See, that's the portion where I can blame Torey, because I do think, and I said this directly after we lost the lead, because I was going through it on the roller coaster of emotions that we've talked about, and I said out loud, I was like, this is the type of game that starts like a 10-game losing streak. Like, it's a cursed game. Like, that is a game that ruins momentum, destroys the season.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me in the back of my head that's like a little bit scared about something like that happening. I think this team is too good for that to happen. I think they're too mentally tough, and like they have too many leaders. As Derek right there, my man Derek Montilla, just doing his thing live on
this
air.
Game is drunker than me in Las Vegas, Damon. That's what happened in this game. But oh man, we have so much more to talk about, and I don't really want to talk about all of it, but there's so much more to talk about. This entire situation kind of takes up the story of the game, right? But there's lots to talk about, including Corbin Carroll extending his on-base streak to 20 games and more. So we're going to talk about all of this on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, shout out to Sanderson Ford. Of course, I'm on a road trip right now, and if you love road trips as much as I do, you need yourself a new vehicle. Now's the perfect time to do so over at Sanderson Ford. They just announced their From America for America employee pricing, where you will pay what they pay on the full lineup of new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field, obviously, for all Ford dealers, because they're all going to be giving you this. But other dealers will not be giving you the deal that Sanderson Ford does. They will add addendums. They will add add-ons. Sanderson Ford does not do any of this. You got to choose Sanderson Ford, because not only do they have the inventory, but they have 70 years of reputation of treating customers right. Right now is the best time to buy a new Ford with Ford From America for America employee pricing. This does exclude 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. Well, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Of course, yes, I'm here to sportsbook, but why would I want to hang around the whole time until the game ends to turn in a ticket, a paper ticket? I might forget it, put it in my wallet, go back to Phoenix. Then I never get that money I win. Forget that. Get on Bet365, get down on live in-game betting, and then have the money just come straight to, your phone or your bank account. Way easier, way more fun to track. And of course,
definitely.
Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. They offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting right now. And of course, you can get down on the MLB early payout offer, where you are a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs or more, which means if the Cubs would have blown this game like we would have all wanted to see, people that bet on the Cubs still would have won over at good old Bet365. And that it counts for parlay and same game parlay selections as well. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Just sign up, use our code of PHNX365 when you do. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 or more. You receive $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and over and actually located in Arizona, unlike me right now. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Well, Damon, there's a lot of things that are going to kind of be missed in this game just due to the fact that the ending was so crazy and obviously so sad for many of us Diamondbacks fans. Meanwhile, I got Cubs fan servers over here smiling and doing peace signs in the background of my pictures when I'm trying to be sad. But the offense obviously couldn't get much going against starter Colin Ray. They did make him work, and they knocked him out of the game early in the 5th inning. But they only drew 1 walk. They didn't draw any walks against him. He was able to keep him at 5 hits and just 1 earned run on 5 strikeouts. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mound, what were your thoughts on Corbin Burns? I mean, he does give the Diamondbacks another quality outing. He goes 6 innings, allows 6 hits, gives up 2 earned runs, no walks, 3K. Didn't get much run support today from the Diamondbacks, but still gave him a solid outing and once again gave him a chance to win the ballgame.
Yeah, quality start today from Corbin Burns. And it sucks. It sucks thinking about that in a game in which you gave up 13 runs.
Yes,
Corbin Burns had a quality start
with 2 earned runs allowed through 6 innings. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. I don't think he was. He looked good at the end of the game. He wasn't like shut down like maybe. We still haven't like seen that performance yet from Corbin Burns, like that truly special performance that I think that we'll see plenty of times this season. I still have no doubts and no concern when it comes to, his level and what his heights can get to. But, I think a lot of times pitchers ramp up early into a season and, we're looking at potentially a case where Corbin Burns is finding, kind of the spot that he wants to be in. And like I said, he looked good at the end of the game. So a lot to be encouraged by.
It's just frustrating that this team seems to have things going at different times. Obviously, starting pitching struggled a little bit early in the season, but the bullpen was outstanding. Kept them in all sorts of games. We've had pleasant surprises from the likes of Jalen Beeks and Shelby Miller. Offense was rolling despite the fact that we thought we would see a setback there. They still rank in the top 5 in baseball, in MLB for offense. That's not going to go away after scoring 11 runs today. And the Cubs are also in the top 5. So, excuse me. This wasn't really a game where, again, I feel like you can blame it on much more than the bullpen and the managerial decisions, right? Like, yeah, the offense didn't get going early, but they still scored some runs. Corbin Carroll extended with his RBI single in the top of the 5th inning, extended his hit streak to 11 games and his on-base streak this season to 20 games. That on-base streak goes back to September 23rd of last year, so he's actually at 26 straight games of getting on base. Currently, the longest active streak of its kind in Major League Baseball. Meanwhile, his 11-game hitting streak is currently the 2nd longest active hitting streak in Major League Baseball, behind Brendan Donovan for the Cardinals. Shout out to our guy Kev, who once again I am ignoring. Kev, I love you and I miss you. Our guy, large intimate Kev Thomas on the 1s and 2s, staunch Cardinals fan there, loves Brendan Donovan. But
double L for our guy Kevin today. The Cubs come back, win this game. Cardinals fan, Dbacks fan. Kevin, how are we feeling after such a horrendous day for you, my guy?
Not feeling great. I'm not going to lie to you, Damon. This also comes off the heels of a 4-1 Cardinals loss yesterday. Not too great for me right now as a ball fan.
None of us feel great, Kevin. None of us feel great right now. I'm going to get dunked on all night long just because I tweeted out a picture of me being excited about that 10-run inning comeback. I deserve it probably. But Corbin Carroll and Geraldo Perdomo, Damon, they are both still on the WAR leaderboard as far as Fangraphs WAR is concerned. Entering play today, Corbin Carroll's 1.5 total FWAR ranked 2nd in Major League Baseball, while Geraldo Perdomo's 1.4 is 4th. And both of those guys contributed today. But the big dinger, big blast today came from our guy, Eugenio Suarez, who still continues to struggle with consistency, but that eighth inning was filled with fireworks. You had singles by Grichuk, Naylor, and Lourdes to start off the inning. Bases loaded. Eugenio Suarez hits a grand slam off Cubs reliever Porter Hodge and turns a 7-1 game very quickly into a 7-5 game. That felt like it was very, very winnable at that point, not to mention what would go on further in the game. But, yeah, Geno is definitely our Sanderson Ford deep drive of the game. That home run, that grand slam was huge for this team, huge for Geno, because honestly, Geno has continued to struggle this year. He has not been consistent offensively. The grand slam is great. It's amazing. But, man, I would love to see Geno just go 3 for 4, 3 for 5 on a day with a couple of singles just to see him kind of getting his bat back on track.
Yeah, it would be nice to see him have maybe a multi-hit day, but I do think that that's what Eugenio Suarez brings to the table is when you have runners on base, he's going to swing for the fences, and sometimes he's going to get a hold of it, and it's going to absolutely change the outcome of a game. He flipped the game on its head today. I'm like, he was looking for that pitch. Clearly he got it, and he left no doubt in the world about it. So, as long as Geno can do that, I'm happy with his role on this team. I don't expect him necessarily to be a super consistent hitter. It makes it tough when you have him and Lourdes kind of both doing it right next to each other in the lineup sometimes. So you want to avoid obviously both of them and their inconsistencies, but great AB from Geno in that moment. He found the pitch he wanted. He executed it perfectly. And getting back to your Corbin conversation, he continues to, I don't think today was his best game. You kind of needed him to come up in a couple big spots down the stretch to pad the lead or at the end of the game when Alec got that hit, that double. But that being said, you can't expect him to just come up big in every moment. Corbin's been pretty insane, I feel like, this season in the big moments, and wasn't his best day today, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be that way every game. And then, of course, Jerry, just does what he does. So, I'm happy with this offense. I think with everything, it's the pitching that is concerning. And like you said, it's the combo of, you can't seemingly find that the starting pitching and the relief pitching to complement each other.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of people very, very angry on Twitter, and very angry.
Are you serious? People are angry in this chat. People they want us to definitely be a lot more, I think, outwardly against all the Torey stuff. But again, I just think that Derek and I don't view it as like a strictly Torey thing. Like I think we view it as this is the front office pieces that have been put in place. Yes, maybe Torey could have burned a little bit more arms and hoped that later in the series they didn't need the arms. I agree with that, but at the same time, like hindsight is 2020. You had a 4-run lead. That should be enough for Bryce Jarvis and Joe Mantiply to get through 3 outs in lieu in waiting for Shelby Miller, who you have a lot of confidence in. So it's like, just don't give up 4, give up 3, and they couldn't get the job done.
Give up 2, right? And that's my point. Is like, again, I do agree that there are maybe things that Torey Lovullo could have done instead of going, especially to Joe Mantiply. Yeah. But if you're out golfing and I go into your golf bag and I remove your driver and your putter and your pitching wedge and your 9-iron, and then I say, figure it out, right? Like, people are going to be like, oh, Damon sucks because he couldn't get the ball. He was like 5 over par on that hole, right? If you don't have the tools in order for you to get the job done, then that's it. Like, it's not the fact that, and again, going to Joe Mantiply in a high leverage situation is the most egregious part of this day. And I am not going to take that away. Like, there had to have been something else you could have thought of to do. Unfortunately, we as fans think of it differently than people in the organization think of it. And we will always think of it differently. We always will. We have a very, very short memory when it comes to good and bad. And we tend to really just react to how guys are currently doing, right? That's not the way an organization, that's not the way a coach, that's not the way a front office is going to think of a guy. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they, cut bait on them or whatever. I'm sure that this is, if you're asking me, I definitely feel like this is trending in the direction of being the end of Joe Mantiply's time on the Diamondbacks big league roster. I definitely feel like that is the case. But like you said, it's a 4-run lead. Like, you feel like even with mistakes being made, even without you going out there and being flawless, that you should be able to bridge the gap for 1 inning to the 9th with a 4-run lead and still have a lead when they get to the 9th inning. That wasn't the case. So Joe Mantiply deserves all of the blame in this case. And again, I will agree a little bit with the Torey Lovullo portion. I also think the front office deserves some blame. Ryne Nelson doesn't get nearly enough blame for this loss today.
No,
I think that's another part of it, because Ryne Nelson has been very, very good, and he wasn't today, quite frankly. And again, if Ryne Nelson was able to do what they have him there for, which is long relief, we wouldn't have had to see Bryce Jarvis or Ryne Nelson in this game, and we could have gone, a couple of innings to Ryne Nelson there, maybe an inning and 2/3, and then you get over to Shelby Milner. So today just didn't go the Diamondbacks' way, and 2 relievers are specifically to blame for it. And one of those relievers is not Bryce Jarvis. It's Ryne Nelson, and it's Joe Mantiply. Looking at some of the
real quick, Derek, I want to speak.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Ryne Nelson, he's now given up 9 runs to the Cubs in 2 innings pitched this season. Maybe just a bad matchup for him.
Maybe.
I just feel like I don't understand the sentiment that like did Mike Hazen not put the bullpen together? And that doesn't mean I love Mike Hazen. He's the best thing that's happened to this organization in a long time, lifetime contract. That doesn't mean he's infallible. Like he has Joe Mantiply on this roster. Am I wrong in saying that? I feel like I'm losing my mind here with the chat, like thinking that I'm crazy for having any blame towards the front office when it's like the front office is what put the bullpen together. The bullpen that has largely been elite this season, and they deserve a ton of credit for that. But Mantiply, like, you deserve blame for Mantiply being on the roster still, if that's how you're going to approach it.
It's both of these things, right?
2 things can be true at the same time. You know what I mean?
Damon, I make mistakes every single day of my life. It's the reason why I'm so okay with the mistakes that I constantly make hosting this show. Mistakes are a part of life. Not every day is going to go your way. Some days you're going to go 0 for 5. Some days you're going to go 1 for 4. But some days you're going to go 4 for 4. Some days you're going to have a good day, right? Like, this Diamondbacks can't necessarily, like I said earlier, sacrifice, the next week just so that they could make some moves right now to bring in a guy that's kind of been overworked and have him come into this game. Not to mention, if that happened and then that guy gave up these runs, you would all be calling Torey an idiot anyway, because you would be like, why did you go to J-Mart again? He's been too overworked. Why did you go to that guy again? So no matter what, there's criticism there that's going to fall on the manager for the ultimate decision he made that ends up in a loss. And like I said earlier, Torey definitely deserves some blame for this, but we don't think of it as fans and people even that cover this team in the same way that the team thinks of it, right? So I don't think that they were sacrificing a win or doing any of that stuff. I just think that if anything that they are guilty of is believing in guys to get the job done that have proven so far that they have not been able to get the job done. Yeah. But that doesn't count Ryne Nelson. Ryne Nelson should have got the job done today. Looking at some of our super chats, Maze Devil says, your manager not willing to stretch a high leverage arm after your team. Oh, wait, we already got to that one. Benjamin Hunley, so the plan before the game started was that Jarvis and Mantiply were your only arms. Why get dressed and come to the party? That's fair. That's fair. That is very fair, right? I mean, again, there's where Torey deserves criticism in managing his bullpen to the point where you are left with Joe Mantiply and Bryce Jarvis as the only arms in your bullpen, along with
definitely.
Shelby. You know,
that's where I agree with you on that, Derek. Like, that's where Torey shares the most blame, is that if you're at a place where you just played the Marlins, you swept the Marlins, and somehow you're playing the Cubs in a series that is figures to be much bigger, and you only have the back end of your bullpen, the guys that you least would want to pitch in a high leverage game, available to you. So that's where I can agree where with the chat, where I'm like, Torey didn't handle that correctly, and I think that his mistakes were days ago rather than today. I don't think that today there was a whole lot else he could have done other than keep Bryce Jarvis in the game and hope that he didn't get shelled, which it looked like.
And again, if that happens,
that short lease decision was correct at the time, but it just didn't work out. I don't know.
It was correct until we saw that the name that was being brought into the game was Joe Mantiply.
Yeah, fair.
And again, you guys constantly talk about me loving Torey, and it's my fault because I said how much I love Torey. I love Joe Mantiply. I think he's a great dude. I don't want to heap this amount of blame onto him, but I'm sure Joe knows how bad he's been this season. I'm sure he's frustrated. I'm sure he wants to do things to work out of it. It's just not happening, right? And yeah, I mean, some of you are saying here with your super chats. M says, stop delaying what needs to be done. It's costing us games. Make the move, Hazen. We don't have wiggle room. That's thank you for your super chat in regards to that. And yeah, I mean, that again, like Damon said, that's definitely criticism as well. That's what we talked about. Making a move to bring in another arm when your only two arms in the bullpen were Joe Mantiply and essentially, Ryne Nelson, Joe Mantiply, and Jarvis there. It's not great.
The problem, Derek, is that this team doesn't have lefties really outside of Joe Mantiply. You have AJ Puck, who sometimes is your closer. I mean, I think J Mart's kind of taken the reign of that, but I mean, Mantiply is that other guy. That's probably why he's on this team over at Dre Jamison, not because Dre isn't a better pitcher than him, but because you need that lefty profile. So maybe hypothetically the Diamondbacks need to find another lefty to replace Mantiply, but at this point, like, every lefty reliever in baseball is better than him. So it shouldn't be too hard to find an upgrade.
Right. And to be fair, AJ Puck has not been the dominant lefty that he was last year. So there's also that where it feels like you can scream about going to AJ Puck, but it's just, it's not happening. Are
you having a powwow about the Diamondbacks bullpen right there behind you?
There's a meeting behind me that's formed. They're all very interested in knowing more about what's going on with the Diamondbacks. Brian Abdallah, thank you for your super chat. He says our chances to win were as real as WWE. That seems unnecessary. There's a lot of pot shots on this show, but that one's probably the most egregious. I won't stand for it. Piece of Yoshi, thank you for your super chat. He says, somewhat more annoyed at Bert mispronouncing Bruhan. Yeah, that's what Bert does. Me and Bert both. If your name's a little hard to pronounce, that's okay. We'll do our best to try it, but we will probably blow it. JC Deb says, Ginkel would have so clutched during this game. Damon, that's not even something I thought about, but he's totally right. Kevin Ginkel would have gotten him out of this inning, would have screamed and had electricity come out of his mouth and maybe a little bit of fire, and then the Diamondbacks would have added 8 more runs in the 9th inning just to really put it away.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to watch Kevin Ginkel today. Agreed. That's all I have to say. Yeah. I mean, it stinks when you have a guy hurt. Hopefully, like you said, it seems like he's on the mend, like he's back soon. And yeah, can't wait to watch Kevin Ginkel ball again.
Zach Gonzalez says if Burns can go 7 innings for maybe once, I mean, yeah, it would be nice to see some starters go a little bit longer. Like, we've been very satisfied with the quality starts, the 6 innings thing. But yeah, I mean, when you see other team starters go 7 innings, you're like, please, Lord, why can't I've seen what you've done for other people. Why can't you do that for me? Steven Banana says you play to win games. Thank you for your super chat, Steven. No games to blow in this division. And we learned that last year, right? This is not a new lesson. This is more of a learn from your history or you're doomed to repeat it kind of situation for the Diamondbacks. Jason Anala says Uber should be waiting to take Mantiply straight to O'Hare. Not Torey's fault. Jarvis and Mantiply have to perform, not just there for bullpen vibes. Thank you, Jason. A voice of reason amongst the people that are all screaming about this being door. Look, I feel that way about like what we do at PHNX, right? If I was on this show right now, ill prepared and drunk and poolside with loud music blaring in the background like I really, really want to be,
Yes.
how good would that be of an experience for you guys, right? Like, I have to perform, and if I don't, then that's on me. It's not on Espo. It's not on Damon. It's on me. So, I mean, yeah, we need to make sure. Like, again, though, I guess a track record of not being able to perform, then where are you at, right? That goes back to, again, for me and Damon, that goes back to the front office. That is on the front office. If your track record has been that you cannot perform and you haven't been doing well and they haven't done anything to address it, despite the fact that they have Dre Jamison and JP Fire Eisen both shoving in Reno, then that might be a little bit more on the front office than it is on Torey, for sure. He doesn't make those decisions for the roster decisions. Brian Abdallah, thank you again for another super chat. He says, Derek's eyes are our eyes, men of culture. We're just going to move on past that comment. Mark, Corbin Burns K-rate through the years, 37% 2020, 36% 2021, 31% 2022, 26% in 2023, 23% in 2024, and now here in 2025, 20%. There is something to be concerned with for sure. But again, I don't know if the Diamondbacks need Corbin Burns to be the ace that he was in 2020 necessarily, as much as they just need him to be able to go out there and give them what he gave them tonight consistently. That's far more valuable to this team than it is for him to go out and get 12, 13 strikeouts. It's flashy, it's sexy, it's just not as valuable as consistency. And then M, thank you for your concerns, in my opinion, was everyone else irrelevant. Mantiply should have been gone already. Say, though, if Jarvis is our worst reliever, I'll take it. And right, like we know what we're going to – we know that Mantiply has been bad this year. Ryne Nelson has been so good this year, except against the Cubs, as Damon pointed out, that, Damon, there's been conversations about making Ryan a starter again. Like, that's how good he's been, despite his limited pitch selection and the fact that he really, again, doesn't offer much more than a fastball that he can pinpoint and locate wherever he wants. He just wasn't able to do that tonight.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree completely with M's super chat here. Like, Ryan is the guy that you expect to be an actual key member of this team moving forward and a part of the future. So yeah, him struggling the way he did is definitely the more concerning from a long-term standpoint. It just sucks to lose the baseball game. And that's the cause of everybody's frustration here. And I mean, it's understandable. Like I get, everyone being upset. And I concur with that entire opinion. Like, Mantiply, you expect to be gone. Ryan can't do that much anymore. Derek, I did want to bring up one thing about the Cubs specifically that we hadn't talked about. I believe they've played 16 games now versus the NL West this season. They are 8-8 versus the NL West. Despite the NL West, as of yesterday, having the 4 best win percentages in baseball, the Cubs have really held their own against the best division in baseball, and they've played way more games against the NL West than the Diamondbacks even have at this point. So, the Cubs are a good baseball team, and they're probably better than their record even suggests at this point because they've played a lot of really, really good baseball teams in the process.
Who says, I don't like this usage of Nelly? Peyton says, I don't think the bullpen is good for Nelly long term. So far, people aren't really thrilled with Ryan being out there in the bullpen. And I think again, when things are going good, things are good. But overall, we've seen how quickly depth can collapse on this team. So Nelson staying stretched out as a starter did seem very valuable for this franchise. Before we move on, I did have to give our King Snake to someone. And a couple of guys deserve it. Nobody out of the bullpen deserves it, but Geno definitely deserves it. Geno is our King Snake for this game with that grand slam. And again, would love to see Geno get back on track, have some more consistent approaches at the plate. But for now, we'll definitely take a grand slam that brought this game much closer than it was for sure. But on the other side of this break, we are going to go over the numbers from this game a bit. And then, of course, we're going to take a look at how things are stacking up in the NL West. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Of course, I have plenty of Pure Edibles with me here in Las Vegas, and I thank them so much for stocking me up for this weekend. Pure Edibles is a full-fledged candy company offering gummies. They're Starburst-like candies that they call Kicks. Chews, which are soft candies like caramel, and hard candies. Pure effects are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what you're getting into. You know exactly what effects to expect. And they also offer gummies for sleep support and uplifting effects. Of course, mood enhancers, if you will, make you have a great time. Pure was created in Flagstaff, Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles, and now they're made right here in Phoenix, Arizona, where I am currently not located. But they're designed to be ripped in half or bit in half, making them easily shareable or easy to dial in your exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure Edible products from one of over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And, of course, we stopped by Circle K on our road trip. You should, too. Circle K should be everywhere, even though they're not, because they are America's thirst stop. But they also give you some of the cheapest gas that you can get. We got another Inner Circle Fuel Day coming up on April 24th, where Inner Circle members can save 40 cents per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. And, of course, you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details. Also, May 6th coming up is the big Circle K big giveaway. Customers can enter to win prizes, cash, and more. Visit CircleK.com/big-giveaway. All right, boys. Well, let's take a look at the numbers from this game. They're a little wacky, of course. Desert Financial always keeps our numbers straight. This is not a series recap. This is an actual single solitary game. Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 13-11. They out-hit the Diamondbacks 18-15. Cubs were 5 for 15 with runners in scoring position to the Diamondbacks 6 for 12. Cubs had 9 extra base hits to the Diamondbacks 5 extra base hits. And the expected batting average there, 290 for the Diamondbacks, 317 for the Cubs. What do you think there, Damon? Not a bad day at the office, all things considered, offensively.
I got to be honest, Eric. All I can think about is the chat frying me for. I think I said that Joe Mantiply was the only other lefty other than AJ Puck in the bullpen, and I obviously spoke wrong. So I have to acknowledge Jalen Beeks' existence.
How dare you
for the
acknowledge him? He is our tribal chief. Yes.
Apologies. Stat correction. Now Maze Devil, maybe you can chill out a little bit. Who knows?
Who wants to see the domo on the back again real fast, Damon? Would you mind flashing that off? Yeah, it's back there. He's sad. He would have done that with much more enthusiasm. I was
ready to be pumped up about it. Yeah.
Oh, I was too. Like I said, people are still dunking on me, David, to this moment. They were like, update with my silly, funny, excited face. Look, I was in here trying to be a professional, getting work done, and I was already, as you know, planning for a loss because the Diamondbacks were down 7-1. And instead, they did what they did. I'm supposed to be responsible for my actions. I'm supposed to take accountability for the way I acted and the things I posted on social media. I refuse to. I refuse to take accountability for anything I do. You know? So anyway, Diamondbacks again have the rest of the series to try to come back and take it against the Cubs. It's not an easy place to play up there in Wrigley, and that Cubs team is very good, but it really did feel like the Diamondbacks had a chance today to walk away with this one. And I think that's what's so frustrating to so many fans out there. Obviously, there's still a lot of baseball to be played. I believe 142 more games to still be played. So I think we'll be all right. But, of course, just for funsies, we're going to look at the NL West standings here in a minute. Damon, shield your eyes when we do, because I know you're not going to be happy about that.
Thanks for the trigger warning.
I just wanted to get that out there beforehand. Yeah. We also got people in the chat now talking to us about, they're singing the Cubs song in the chat. I don't like that. People want my Wrestlemania predictions. I don't know if I'm ready to give those out.
Dominic Mysterio, Intercontinental Champion.
Yes, you and I are on that same page. He deserves it. Dom has been incredible. Also, I think Rhea Ripley is going to win, and I think that John Cena becomes number 17 time world champion. There you go. There's some predictions.
I'm the new Jesse, where like you guys just talk wrestling, and then I just sit here like this the entire time.
Damon, will it be Mr. Beast or will it be Karrion Kross in the Prime Bottle this year?
That's my thoughts.
He doesn't even know what that means. He doesn't even know what that means. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm pumped to be here for this. This city is alive. But it's also very funny because I don't know. I've met a lot of Diamondbacks fans here, and that's been probably my most exciting part. We are growing, ladies and gentlemen. We are all over the place, so it's been cool to meet a couple of people. One dude had an awesome hat, and then I went up and talked to him about his hat, and then he was like, "I love your show." So that was probably my coolest moment of the weekend, despite the fact I've already hung out with a bunch of wrestlers. But Damon,
humble brag.
Yeah, I know. I had to throw it in there. I definitely had to throw it in there. But we have a little bit more to talk about, including the standings of that NL West on the other side of this break and the rest of the probable pitchers for the series with the Cubs. Of course, don't you guys go anywhere. You are still watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Let me tell you, as a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early, do you? Your business is on your mind 24/7, just like me with this show. I get up in the middle of the night worrying about the numbers of the show and if you guys all like me and are having fun watching it. But when you're out there as a small business and you're hiring, you need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. So that's why you need to look to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's new feature right now can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. I've used LinkedIn, and I can't tell you how much easier I feel like it has made the world of connecting and finding job opportunities out there. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of SMBs using LinkedIn data say that LinkedIn helps them find higher quality candidates. So make sure to check out LinkedIn if you are business hiring. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Dbacks. That's linkedin.com/Dbacks to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And of course, Carol Royce and her team want to help you get into your home. If you are in the market for a home, or if you maybe think that you will never get into your own home, turn to Carol Royce. She can help you create a game plan and get to your ultimate goal of home ownership. Of course, the number one way to create wealth is home ownership. Carol Royce will educate you on how to stop paying your landlord and building equity for yourself. Interest rates have decreased, but aren't expected to fall much lower. So again, Carol can help you not only find your starter home, but she can game plan for you to get into your dream home. She can also assist you with financing, and she can make sure that she provides you with all of the knowledge that she has had for 3 decades of partnering together with people on their homes. There are 3 generations of family members on this team, and Carol is a diehard sports fan, so of course she's one of us. Maybe you're looking to move, but you need to sell first. Buy one of Carol's homes, and she'll buy yours for cash. If you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step right now. Call Carol Royce at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com and tell them PHNX sent you. That's carolroyceteam.com. Terms and conditions do apply. Damon, I know you know, I know Kevin knows, but we have some great new shirts, by the way, and I've tried to spread the word, but of course, I want to let people know. Go check out our merch tab at gophnx.com. You can see all the wonderful shirts we have for our 2025 PHNX Diamondbacks collection. And of course, we also have our Die Hard sale still going on strong right now. You can get that Die Hard sale for $36. Become a Die Hard, join the family, get a shirt. Basically, you're buying the shirt, you're getting the membership for free, or you're buying the membership and you're getting the shirt for free. Regardless, though, it's almost a push on those 2 things. You'll get your membership card, you get access to all of our premium written content, entrance to the Discord Lounge, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan, discounts on all of our events, and also all of our wonderful Die Hard only content that we have coming up, including me and Damon cursing up a storm over on PHNX After Dark, which we might need to do after tonight's loss, because I'm feeling very angry, and I feel like I have to let out some frustration, Damon, especially when you look at these MLB or the NL West standings, because things continue to be tough for the Arizona Diamondbacks now, and they're not going to get any easier. At least right now, the 4 best teams in baseball that are all in the same division are pretty close, so nobody's doing anything crazy, but the Giants kind of came back down to earth a little bit. The Dodgers have won 3 in a row. They're back into second place, and you know it's only inevitable until they are in first in the NL West. But, yeah, Damon, this is the reason I think why people get so angry about a single loss like this that they felt was so close to being a victory, right? That's the reason why every game counts. We've talked about how much every game counts and how you have to win the day. And, yeah, that guy is not doing it. Well, he kind of did. He had a dinger tonight. We didn't give him his credit for what he did, right?
Yeah, Derek, I expect the Giants to kind of come back down to earth. That was always kind of in the cards for me. I don't think that the Giants are going to be a playoff team this year. I just am not really inspired by their roster, to be honest with you. But I think the Padres and the Dodgers are going to be close to this good for, majority of the season. And we're just going to have to deal with it in Diamondbacks land. So you knew what you signed up for. That's part of the reason why I think Ken Kendrick is investing in this team the way he is because he knows he has to compete with teams that flex their financial muscle like the California teams do. I mean, it's going to be a tough task, and losing games like today is that's why it's so demoralizing, because you can't really let games slip, not like you did last year if you want to make playoffs, especially in the NL West.
It's just so weird because it to me, this game is more of a game that the Cubs almost let slip away more than the Diamondbacks let slip away. But when you're up at any point during a baseball game and you end up losing that game, you let it slip away. And that's the only way that you can view it. They can't let these next 2 slip away, though. Like I said before, the only series they've lost so far this season has been to the Washington Nationals, and they did split their opening series with the Cubs. Taking a look here at the probable pitchers for this upcoming series, Diamondbacks still have a really good chance with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly going in games 2 and 3. And again, for the Cubs, they have some of their worst starting pitchers right now, at least ERA-wise, going in these games. You feel really good about this one. And, again, despite the fact that they didn't really factor in Corbin Burns and Ray were both very good today for their respective teams. And I expect to see that, out of Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly in the series. The Diamondbacks need them to kind of bounce back. This one could have been, like you said, it could have been an uplifting game that really gave you the confidence that no lead is too big to overcome. No deficit is too insurmountable to come back from. But instead, this could be fairly demoralizing, and this could be kind of the thing, like you said. I don't hope that's not the case, but that could send them down a path of not having success in the next stretch of games. So hopefully the Diamondbacks can bounce back. We will be back on Monday with another Mailbag Monday episode, and we will recap this series with the Cubs. So can't wait to see you guys then, if I make it back alive. That there's a non-zero chance that I won't. But in the meantime, you can follow me on
Real
Twitter.
Quick, Derek. What? I think people are wondering in the chat, where are the hot wings?
Hot wings.
I thought you were hot winging it up on this post-game show. That's what the people wanted.
I never committed to that, and I
don't know.
Damon, I have 3 more days here in Las Vegas. I'm supposed to
Kevin, how do you remember it?
Hot wings and get my tummy all upset, and then I'm supposed to what? I'm supposed to go use the bathrooms at Allegiant Stadium when I'm there for WrestleMania. You're like Emma, who tried to feed me sardines before I spent 3 days at an outdoor music festival. You people are out to get me, and I am very aware of it, and I am not going to allow it to happen. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go get shots with Hornswoggle right now, and you are going to Don't even worry about it. Me and Hornswoggle are texting each other during the show. I have to go because I have fun to be having, and this wasn't fun. Losing this game, not fun, but going and drinking in Las Vegas, very fun. So until the next time we see you, which might never be again, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with K. Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's dogs, no matter where we're located. Bark, bark.
I tried.
Kevin post. I'm just going to power through this. Our show is at PHNX @PHNX_Dbacks. But of course, all roads lead to @PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And now I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to disappear. I got all sorts of wrestling to go watch. I wish things were better for us, but hopefully they will be. Diamondbacks will fight back tomorrow. Until we see each other again, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Damon, you behave yourselves and don't try to commit me to ever eating hot wings ever again. Kevin, you keep this man in check while I'm gone. And the rest of you, we love you guys so much. We appreciate you for giving us your time. And we'll see you on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Behave yourselves, because I won't. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you have better options in a high-leverage situation than Joe Mantiply and Bryce Jarvis.
We all silly like the mayor.